for further custody of the number 2 really in Delhi government. This is going to be a battle between the BJP and the AAP. It's only going to further intensify. Now, staying with these pictures of further detentions, I'm just going to ask Satya, in fact, to show you those visuals of the manner in which the AAP is protesting right at the gate of the AAP headquarters there, with police and RAF presence in heavy numbers. Even if there is a bus, another one, I'm just going to show you though that bus as well, where workers are getting detained and being taken away. This of course is to ensure the law and order situation does not go out of hand. Workers of the AAP have not been allowed to march to the BJP headquarters. This was the original plan. Also, the police or the RAF did not have to use any tear gas. Water cannon also, interestingly, was not used because the situation was brought under control fairly quickly is what we understand, because the workers did move away from the barricades. They're now protesting right outside the headquarters where the RAF and police presence is there. And if at all things go out of hand, the detentions in that sense will increase.
So clearly we see that the police are also ensuring they don't rub the janta there or the Aam Aadmi Party workers the wrong way, because whatever said and done at this point, it's the AAP that's the ruling government in Delhi. So the police also being very careful, treading carefully at this point, not wanting to rub emotions, because that's the kind of support that AAP has received. The kind of overwhelming victory they won with this time around shows the popularity in the state of Delhi. Well, you have reactions coming in, and of course people, they're furious. Largely it's the Aam Aadmi Party workers who are on ground, and it appears that the AAP leaders had held a couple of meetings even in the past, at least in the last few weeks, knowing very well that an arrest on Manish Sisodia is imminent. This is what we hear. In fact, you had Saurabh Bharadwaj of the Aam Aadmi Party MLA clearly stating that we knew Manish Sisodia would be arrested. And knowing very well, they had already planned this kind of large-scale protest to be launched in different parts of the national capital. And not just here. We believe that protests have also begun in different states, including that of Punjab, Chhattisgarh. We believe even in Karnataka, the Aam Aadmi Party netas now coming out on the streets and condemning, calling this a vicious attack and vendetta politics, trying to target anyone outside the BJP. All the opposition party netas are being targeted. This is the song that the Aam Aadmi Party is singing, even after a year of the CBI investigation into this case, which points out clearly at Manish Sisodia's alleged role in approving several of those policy modifications arbitrarily without going through competent authorities, without getting approvals from the Chief Secretary. Atishi speaking of the Aam Aadmi Party, listen in. Of the Aam Aadmi Party, Atishi right now, who's right outside the Rouse Avenue court where she's condemning the BJP, accusing them of using central agencies and trying to arm twist them to target anyone opposing the BJP or anyone in the opposition party. Manish Sisodia, they claim, is absolutely innocent. He's worked really hard towards education of Delhi. He's done so much more for the state of Delhi and the country. They're making him seem, or at least the projection of Manish Sisodia by the AAP is that he's a crusader. He's an anti-corruption crusader. He's done so much for Delhi and the country. He's a national leader, and this is a way to target them and suppress them because the BJP fears AAP's rise. These are the words of the Aam Aadmi Party, but how far will this hold waters with the CBI? The CBI is, of course, investigating a corruption angle. They're oblivious to all these political chants being made by AAP or any other political party. They're going to go by facts. And that's what we see here. We hear that Manish Sisodia, as per investigation, has not responded to several key questions put forth before him. And this is the top update coming in as we hear Manish Sisodia right now in court is all set to move court seeking bail. He's hoping for bail, to secure bail. Aishwarya Paliwal also joining us on that. Aishwarya, we hear that Manish Sisodia at this point is pushing for bail, regular bail in court. Tell us a little more on this. What are the chances?
Well, before that, let me just tell you, the kind of visuals that one can see right outside the Aam Aadmi Party headquarters. The gate has been opened and the protesters now are, sitting on one side inside because the police cannot enter the Aam Aadmi Party headquarters. They are now sitting on the it can hear, the court case that is going on, Nabila. One can hear that. Saurabh Bhardwaj, Aam Aadmi Party leader, just moved from here and has gone inside the Aam Aadmi Party headquarters. Protesters in large numbers present and now sloganeering right outside the Aam Aadmi Party headquarters.
Outside the Rouse Avenue court right now. Pooja, we believe Manish Sisodia's team are pushing for regular bail. He's really hoping to secure bail in this case. CBI really have tightened the case. Every corner it appears that they've ensured Manish Sisodia will remain for the long haul. Tell us a little more about this bail push. Okay, cutting across to Munish, our correspondent, tracking the central agencies there. Munish, we believe Manish Sisodia has now pushed for bail, regular bail here, and he's hoping to secure it. But CBI also very well prepared to present their case in court, ensuring that Manish Sisodia remains in jail for the long haul.
Well, Nabila, I'm standing right outside the CBI headquarters from where Manish Sisodia can be taken any moment from now. Let me show you the visuals first, what is happening outside the CBI headquarters. This is the CGO complex and all the roads going to this particular CBI headquarters has been blocked. There is a barricading, police deployment of paramilitary forces, and any moment from now we have been given to understand is that Manish Sisodia will be taken out and then he will be produced before the court. But what is going to be in court is extremely important, not only for Manish Sisodia but also for the Aam Aadmi Party. We have been given to understand is that there was a meeting between CBI officials and the law officers of Central Bureau of Investigation in anticipation that Manish Sisodia's lawyer will be presenting a case that his arrest was illegal, there was no need of arrest, and they might move a bail application also. What also we are hearing from sources within the Aam Aadmi Party is that there is a possibility of Manish Sisodia moving for bail, but there is a very low chance that this bail plea will be entertained by the court because this is the first hearing after Manish Sisodia was arrested. Mostly the procedure is that the CBI will be moving a remand application telling the court about the grounds on the basis of which Manish Sisodia was arrested and also the grounds on the basis of which they want further custody of Manish Sisodia. So these things will be told by the court, told by the CBI before the court, but on the other side, the lawyers of Manish Sisodia will be arguing that there was no need for this arrest, this is a political case, or they may even go on to say that he was cooperating with the investigation. But so far, CBI sources are saying that they are very confident that they will be securing custody of Manish Sisodia, and for next few days at least he will be with the CBI in connection with this case.
Give us some more clarity when it comes to the CBI arresting Manish Sisodia after a year of investigating him and this alleged irregularity in the liquor scam. What are the key points do they really have that are strong enough to ensure Manish Sisodia does not get bail?
Well, Nabila, the Central Bureau of Investigation is conducting probe in connection with this case since August last year. Then there was searches conducted at his residence, and the first lead which the Central Bureau of Investigation got was from these searches which were conducted in the Office of Excise Department. There they seized certain computers, hard disks, and the first lead was a hard disk which was not even connected to Excise Policy Department, but from that computer they got a draft which was not even made public at that point of time. But the CBI sources are telling us that they were building a case since the time searches began. They one by one they got some instrumental key evidence in this case, and as far as the CBI's ground is concerned, the first ground is he was not cooperative during the questioning, he was evasive during the questioning. Also the evidence, the documentary evidence, the CBI is claiming that when Manish Sisodia was confronted with the documentary evidence and digital evidence, he was not answering properly. But the most important part was the statement given by a bureaucrat, C. Arvind, who was heading the excise department at that point of time. He had recorded his statement under 164, which is acting as evidence for the Central Bureau of Investigation, and that officer has gone on to say that Manish Sisodia was the person who as a minister was giving not only direct instructions to the officials, but also he was the one who said that the profit for the liquor businessmen should be increased from 6% to 12%. So these are some things which Manish Sisodia was not able to defend himself according to CBI sources, and based on which the CBI decided to arrest him, and they are saying that they have a very strong case of they have a very strong evidence against Manish Sisodia, on the basis of which they will be able to convince the court that he should be in CBI custody for next few days.
You know, Manish, we believe that Manish Sisodia was taken in by the CBI just yesterday, and he went through 8 hours of grilling, after which the CBI was convinced that he's got to be arrested. Could you tell us the line of questioning after which the CBI was convinced that Manish Sisodia could be likely hiding something from them?
Nabila, this is a very important question. Manish Sisodia appeared before the agency yesterday around 11 o'clock for the second time. But this time the questioning was important for the agency because the agency was claiming that this time he has been called on the basis of evidence. And once the questioning started, he was confronted with series of evidences, not only the documentary evidences, digital evidences, but also certain statements given by the accused and the witnesses. During the questioning, what the CBI sources are telling us that Manish Sisodia was not able to defend himself. Why he was not able to defend himself? Because, for example, there was one point that why this profit was increased from 6% to 12%. Then Manish Sisodia said that he doesn't know. The CBI is claiming that Manish Sisodia knows the truth, but he doesn't want to disclose, and that is why they need custodial interrogation of Manish Sisodia. Also, there was a point that when the draft policy for the excise policy was drafted under the leadership of Manish Sisodia, that draft policy was changed when finally it was made public. Why this change took place? When Manish Sisodia was asked this question, he was not able to give satisfactory answer. He said, I don't know. But there were certain documents based on which the CBI said that you are lying, and we have decided to arrest him, and that is why around 7:15 he was placed under arrest. So what CBI is saying that this is not 1, 2 or 3 evidences against Manish Sisodia, but series of evidences based on which they decided to arrest him. Also, Nabila, what is important here is to point out that Mr. Manish Sisodia, according to the CBI sources, was also involved in destruction of evidence. Already there is a ED charge sheet. ED has claimed that Manish Sisodia used and destroyed at least 11 phones, and these phones were used for formulating the excise policy when it was implemented, and also when he was in close communication allegedly with Vijay Nair and certain accused in the this liquor policy case. So what CBI is saying that apart from these all evidences, they also have evidence to prove that Manish Sisodia was involved in destruction of evidence and he was part of the criminal conspiracy. So based on these grounds, they decided to arrest him, and yesterday around 7:15 in the evening, he was placed under arrest after 8 hours of long questioning. Nabila.
All right. At this point, a lot of questions being asked. Of course, Preeti Chaudhary also joining us, who's been tracking those developments with our Preeti. You know, at this point, from what we see here, Aam Aadmi Party assumed that withdrawing or scrapping the liquor policy would really end their trouble. But it appears that that's what's really led to this impression that AAP almost conceded to have been defaulting while framing the policy itself.
Well, you know, that's a matter of litigation. It's a matter of what goes down in court, Nabila, because clearly the Aam Aadmi Party on their account is contesting every claim made by the CBI. They want to fight it out in court, and trust me, it's going to be a fierce battle on the, in the court and outside on the streets. But what's interesting is, and maybe you can pull in Manish on this as well, that on the grounds on which Manish Sisodia is actually seeking bail, he is seeking bail on the grounds of his wife being very unwell.
Yeah.
The grounds of that were laid yesterday itself when Manish Sisodia, after Manish Sisodia was arrested, Arvind Kejriwal, along with Bhagwant Wan, went to Manish Sisodia's residence. The minute Arvind Kejriwal came out, he said that Manish's wife is very unwell. She's suffering from multiple sclerosis. Now, that's a degenerative disease where you're practically, you have to rely on somebody else as your primary caregiver. And what is interesting in all of this is, till now, all reporters who've covered the Aam Aadmi Party have always had an indication that Manish Sisodia, the Deputy CM's wife, keeps unwell. Nobody quite knew that she was suffering from multiple sclerosis. And so Arvind Kejriwal said that yesterday, that there's nobody else at home to take care of her. And if you actually play that reaction out yesterday, you'll get an understanding that the grounds for bail were being laid from yesterday itself. So
but that's probably the only issue that Arvind Kejriwal can raise and put on a platform to gain some kind of sympathy. But it is a fact, I mean, not to take away, it is a fact that Manish Sisodia's wife is ill, his son is away, he's abroad, so there's really no one to take care of the wife. But could that be good enough grounds for the court to overlook the allegations leveled by the CBI, serious enough that Manish Sisodia can just turn over or can manipulate facts if he's let out to be granted bail just on the basis of his wife being ill?
Well, that's something that maybe Manish can answer in terms of what has been the past.
राउस एवेन्यू कोर्ट के लिए यानी सीबीआई की टीम मनीष सिसोदिया को लेकर रवाना अब एंट्री गेट से हो चुकी है। ये तस्वीर आज तक पर आप एक्सक्लूसिव देख पा रहे हैं कि किस तरीके से जो गाड़ियों का काफिला है उसको लेकर मनीष सिसोदिया को लेकर सीबीआई की टीम यहाँ पर निकली है। राउस एवेन्यू कोर्ट में पेश करने के लिए भारी सुरक्षा के बीच अगर आप यहाँ पर देखें तो ये जो तमाम गाड़ियों का काफिला है, मनीष सिसोदिया को लेकर टीम यहाँ से निकली है, दिल्ली पुलिस की टीम। तो ये क्या इस तरह से ये गाड़ियां एक लेकर निकली है, ये एक के बाद एक 4 से 5 गाड़ियां निकली है। अब सवाल ये है कि क्या इन गाड़ियों के काफिले में मनीष सिसोदिया थे या नहीं थे, या फिर ये चकमा देने की भी कोशिश हो सकती है, दूसरा रूट है उससे भी लेकर जाया जाए। लेकिन ये कम से कम माना जा रहा है कि जो सीबीआई की टीम है वो मनीष सिसोदिया को लेकर यहाँ से निकल चुकी है। मृदुल, आपको एक बार फिर मेन एंट्री गेट की यहाँ से तस्वीर दिखाने की कोशिश करेंगे। अमूमन ये ड्रिल की जाती है एजेंसी की तरफ से, क्योंकि एक काफी हाई प्रोफाइल ये कई हाई प्रोफाइल मामला है, डिप्टी सीएम से जुड़ा मामला है। ऐसे में ये एक ड्रिल भी हो सकती है, एजेंसी की एक चकमा देने की रणनीति भी हो सकती है। लेकिन एक के बाद एक कई गाड़ियों का काफिला सीबीआई मुख्यालय से निकला है। शुभांकर।
All right, I'm going to quickly cut across to Manish on that. Manish, do tell us, we believe that Manish Sisodia has been taken to the Rouse Avenue court. His team is likely to press for bail, regular bail, and the grounds of which is that his wife is unwell. Would you believe that the court will take that into consideration, enough so to overlook the CBI's allegations on him?
There is a very low possibility. We have seen in earlier cases such grounds have been mentioned by the accused in such cases, but what happens on the first hearing after any arrest is that the court decides on the basis of merit. Now, as far as the bail application is concerned, this is at a very early stage, because remember, what is going to be important is the CBI's argument today, that why they decided to arrest him and why they need custodial interrogation of Manish Sisodia. Apart from that, the next step will be if there is any bail application filed by the accused or not. Whether the court is going to entertain that bail plea or not, that is the first question. And if they entertain, whether the ground of someone being sick at home is a strong ground or not, that is something which will be on the wisdom of court. But as far as CBI is concerned, they are claiming that today it is their day, because their remand copy is very strong, their evidences are very strong, based on which Manish Sisodia is arrested, and they are very confident that today they will be getting custody of Manish Sisodia at least for next few days. As far as CBI headquarters is concerned, you just saw the convoy. A convoy has left. We have been given to understand is that Manish Sisodia has left from the CBI headquarters. As far as what headquarters is looking like at this point of time, remember, the security was beefed up here. Several officials from Central Bureau of Investigation have already reached the Rouse Avenue Court, where the hearing will take place, and also the law officers, public prosecutors are already inside the CBI court. So the remand copy is in the CBI court. The officials from the Central Bureau of Investigation are in the CBI court. Moments from now, Manish Sisodia will reach the Rouse Avenue court, and there the main action will start. The legal fight will start between the public prosecutor and the battery of lawyers who will be presenting Manish Sisodia. Of course, Manish Sisodia has all rights to defend himself, but at this stage, whether he will be able to secure bail or not, that is extremely difficult. But as far as the Central Bureau of Investigation is concerned, they are saying that they are confident that today they are going to get custody of Mr. Manish Sisodia.
Well, it's been a year of investigation, and now the CBI finally thought it was fit to arrest Manish Sisodia. But who are the high-profile officers or the babus who have really worked with Manish Sisodia in formulating this liquor policy, who have now been arrested? How many arrests have been made in the top 14 mentioned in the FIR, Manish?
Well, Nabila, so far 10 accused have been arrested. Manish Sisodia is the 11th accused who has been arrested by the Central Probe Agency. Before Manish Sisodia, 10 accused were arrested, including Vijay Nair, who, according to the Central Bureau of Investigation, was a close aide of Manish Sisodia, someone who is considered very close to even Arvind Kejriwal, and he was then the Aam Aadmi Party's communication in charge. So that is what the investigation has been so far as the arresting is concerned. As far as today's representation of CBI is concerned, the investigative officer being assisted by several other CBI officials, they will be inside the court, but the most important part is going to be the
All right, stay with us, Manish. I'm going to quickly cut across to shots coming in. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who's currently in Karnataka, the poll-bound state. He's right now in Belagavi. A roadshow by Prime Minister Narendra Modi right after inaugurating the new airport that's launched in Shimoga at a cost of 450 crores. This is a huge boost for the BJP, especially those areas of Shimoga, Belagavi region. The BJP has enough and more sway. Its leaders are quite strong. BJP leaders within that region are quite sure of the BJP coming back. This is a BJP stronghold undoubtedly, and that's why you see that kind of fanfare for Prime Minister Modi as he arrives in Shimoga. He is now in Belagavi carrying out a huge roadshow in the poll-bound state of Karnataka. Those are visuals, live visuals and images of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Of course, you have people there lined up in numbers. For them, Prime Minister Modi is certainly an idol. You have huge support for the BJP within that region. We know this is a communal hotbed as well. At the same time, Shimoga, Belagavi region is certainly polarized, and the sway is towards the BJP, and one knows BJP leaders there are powerful, and considering that Prime Minister Modi even a visit there along that region of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, will be certainly be able to consolidate votes ahead of elections in Karnataka. This is certainly a pitch. Prime Minister Modi's visit, always, more often than not, the BJP manages to consolidate their votes. This is a region that has huge support for the BJP, and that's precisely where you see Prime Minister Modi holding a massive roadshow in Belagavi, Karnataka. This comes as hugely significant as Karnataka goes to polls in just about 2 months' time. First week of May, end of April, first week of May is when Karnataka will vote. Currently, the BJP government in Karnataka hoping to gain back power in the state. You have quite a strong opposition. If anything, the Congress in Karnataka seems like a strong opposition for the moment. Will they be able to turn this around and welcome a victory for themselves, the Congress party? That remains to be seen in the face of this mighty BJP and Prime Minister Modi's visit to Karnataka multiple times before the elections. It's certainly going to make it quite hard for the Congress to really come back to power in the state. This is the BJP pushing for its prospects yet again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, right after inaugurating that massive airport in Shivamogga, rolls out a huge roadshow in Belagavi, and these are the live images coming in.
तो निश्चित तौर पर हम कह सकते हैं कि जहां पर वो अपने लोग
करते हुए प्रधानमंत्री दिखाई दे रहे हैं। आप हमारे साथ बने रहिएगा। आयशा खानम भी हमारे साथ।
All right, those are live images coming in, and this is also significant at this point. There was a lot of talk about BJP's tallest leader in Karnataka, B.S. Yediyurappa, not being kept in good spirit, that he's been upset with the BJP. There seems to be a divide, etc. But today one should know is B.S. Yediyurappa's 80th birthday celebrations. Prime Minister Modi has very well timed his visit on a day that Yediyurappa celebrates his birthday, and this was done strategically to show that Yediyurappa certainly is and will remain the tallest, most important leader of the BJP in Karnataka. And to keep him in good humor, it appears that Prime Minister chose this day, and Yediyurappa even said that explicitly in that exclusive interview with India Today, Sagai Raj, where he said, Prime Minister Modi asked me when's my birthday and decided to come on that day and inaugurate the Shivamogga airport. And that is hugely significant to show that Yediyurappa is still the most integral for the BJP in Karnataka. Without the help of Yediyurappa, it's quite hard. One who knows Karnataka politics would know that without Yediyurappa, BJP coming back to power in the state, the chances could be really weak. And that's why, knowing very well the significance of Yediyurappa, it appears on his 80th birthday, you have Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself coming down. A lot of images that came in a little earlier today, where Prime Minister holding hands of B.S. Yediyurappa and walking amid the crowds cheering for them. Mustafa Sheikh joining us, who's right on ground in Belagavi, Karnataka. Mustafa, Narendra Modi right there holding a massive roadshow after inaugurating that airport in Shivamogga, and we see huge fanfare. Tell us the significance of Modi's visit in the poll-bound state at this point.
Yes, of course, and it is a very important visit for Belagavi, at least, because you can see this is a small city, but here on a Monday, a working day, people have turned out in large numbers, and this is not the only place he'll be visiting. It's a 9-kilometer stretch where Prime Minister's convoy will be passing by, and there are some landmarks, some circle where he's likely to wait and wave at people and citizens who are waiting here for him. So it's a big, you can say, movement and a start for Karnataka elections campaign for the BJP, be it Shivamogga, be it Belagavi, and also the infrastructure projects like railway lines, the redeveloped Belagavi station, and the PM Kisan Nidhi's distribution. So these are things, schemes and infrastructure projects with the Prime Minister is coming forward. He's saying that this will be the momentum we'll be taking towards 2024. He spoke about Air India, the perception of Air India, the profits of Air India, and how it has changed since the time BJP has come to power. So clearly that infrastructure push will be given even in Belagavi, and this roadshow is very important for the people of Belagavi. Remember, a few months back we saw Chief Minister of Karnataka and leaders and politicians in Maharashtra fighting over the border dispute issue. So there are a lot of issues related to Karnataka, and which have led to Karnataka's infrastructure not being developed so much, being a border state. But recently the Karnataka government had taken their assembly session in Belagavi, which means that clearly the Belgavi push, these elections are coming in a big way, and Prime Minister's visit here and a 9-kilometer roadshow with such good response is a sign of it. Back to you.
Absolutely, and a 9 to 10 kilometer roadshow, we believe. So Shimoga all the way to Belagavi. Prime Minister knows very well what are the areas to touch upon ahead of elections. And of course, Belagavi as a BJP stronghold with 18 seats. The previous assembly elections, the BJP managed to win at least 12 in this region. They're hoping to gain back the same support. But it seems like this time around, their chances could be weak because of the corruption allegations that are leveled against them. The Chief Minister, the BJP in the state itself really facing this commission sarkar, 40% commission sarkar, that's the label been given to them, and that's really seeped down to the people asking questions, raising questions on the BJP and its governance in the last few years. What have they really done for the state? Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit really could really soften that emotion towards the BJP in the state, is it not, Mustafa?
Well, yes, that's the attempt. The change in perception and clean governance is an effect. But while we are speaking, as we are showing the live visuals, these are live visuals from Kittur Chennamma Circle. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's convoy has reached Kittur Chennamma Circle, and this is an important landmark, as Kittur Chennamma is known as a queen who had fought the Britishers. And this you can see now as Prime Minister reaches here, the spot where people were waiting eagerly. We are showing you live visuals of Prime Minister reaching this circle. From here he is going towards Sambhaji Circle, and from there Ramling Khind Gully. So this is the 9-kilometer stretch which we were talking about. Prime Minister will be covering, and clearly he has reached here and people were waiting for him.
All right, we seem to have a glitch there, but here you have Prime Minister Narendra Modi's convoy that's passing through the streets of Belagavi, a poll-bound state, Karnataka. We're seeing BJP hoping to come back to power in great strength. This is the same Belagavi region that's seen at least 13 seats of the 18, which the BJP had won. And it's also a Lingayat dominant area, the region of Belagavi, and the electorate here usually supporting the BJP. This time around, a lot of questions on the reservations for Lingayat community. They've come out making their demands for, to the BJP, and of course that could be a significant factor here, which Prime Minister Modi's visit could also really help calm those tempers. The Lingayat community not very happy with the BJP in the recent past. On one hand, they're asking for a reservation for the prominent, dominant Lingayat community, and the other, they're of course upset with the corruption allegations leveled against the BJP. A lot of questions being asked on that. Now, Prime Minister Modi's visit, like I said, stressing on the fact, usually has a great impact in a state like Karnataka. And apart from Bengaluru, which is again a BJP stronghold, Bengaluru, most of the seats are with the BJP, the Legislative Assembly seats. Now they're also, and apart from Bengaluru, it's Belagavi next, where the BJP really has huge sway. So here we see a consistent effort made by Prime Minister Modi and of course the BJP at large to ensure that they are able to appeal to the audience there in their own stronghold yet again. This is BJP looking to come back to power in the state of Karnataka, and precisely the location that's been chosen for this rally, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as they carry out this huge road show in an area like Belagavi, where the BJP has sway.
जी
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी कर्नाटक के लोगों के साथ प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी की करुणा जो है लगभग यहाँ शब्द पहले अपना भाषण करना ही शुरू किया उन्होंने, तो लोगों ने बहुत ही उत्साह प्रकट किया, बहुत ही खुशी नदी को जोड़ा जाता है और कैसे दोनों नदियों के बीच एक सांस्कृतिक कनेक्ट है। और उन्होंने कहा कि कन्नड़ा में उन्होंने कहा कि गंगा स्नाना तुंगा पाना, यानी गंगा में स्नान करना और तुंगा का पानी पीना जिंदगी में बेहद जरूरी है, और अगर तुंगा नदी का पानी नहीं पिया तो जिंदगी में कुछ नहीं किया। तो प्रधानमंत्री ने बहुत ही सरल कन्नड़ा में ये बात कही लोगों के सामने। प्रधानमंत्री की जो एक पानी पीना जिंदगी में बेहद जरूरी है, और अगर तुंगा नदी का पानी नहीं पिया तो जिंदगी में कुछ नहीं किया। तो प्रधानमंत्री ने बहुत ही सरल कन्नड़ा में ये बात कही लोगों के सामने। प्रधानमंत्री की जो एक तंत्र है लोगों के साथ, खासकर कर्नाटक के लोगों के साथ। यही वजह है कि इस
All right, there you have a huge roadshow that's being carried out by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the poll-bound state of Karnataka. I'd like to stress on the fact that every time Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, reaches Karnataka, the kind of affection and the admiration that he gets is really something to see. It's a spectacle, undoubtedly, because he has a huge fan base in Karnataka, and that's what we see every time he carries out a road show. And this is also a great way for optics for the BJP, because you have Belagavi, the region with huge support for the BJP, and these images will really speak for itself in the poll-bound state of Karnataka. All right, Mustafa joining us for a little more. Mustafa, of course, it's B.S. Yadurappa's birthday, and this is a timely visit. Prime Minister Modi, we believe, has timed this visit with Yadurappa's birthday only to show how strong a leader Yadurappa is and how integral he will remain for the BJP in Karnataka. And this is, again, let me remind our viewers, a Lingayat dominant region. Belagavi with a huge population of Lingayats. The BJP, of course, trying to appeal to them a month ahead of polls. All right, we've lost his connection. We're going to try and patch him back. But like I said, this is a Lingayat dominant region, and Yadurappa, the strongest face of the Lingayat community. In the recent past, there's been a lot of questions on whether or not the BJP High Command was sidelining Yadurappa. And now quashing all those doubts, or really settling the dust here, is the BJP top man himself, the Prime Minister himself, who's come down on Yadurappa's birthday, timed it rightly so that they project Yadurappa to be their true strong leader even till today. And we saw images of Yadurappa and Prime Minister Modi holding hands, walking together. And this was really a perception created to ensure that the Lingayat community feels secure, that it is their strong man, Yadurappa himself, who's still the face of the BJP in Karnataka. There's no two ways to that. You have Basuraj Bommai, the Chief Minister, again chosen by Yadurappa. And why I stress on Yadurappa is because this is his region, this is his home turf. And you see this huge support and the people in strength coming out to cheer for Modi. It's because this is a BJP stronghold, and the BJP was really strengthened in this region thanks to B.S. Yadurappa. And you have Prime Minister Modi holding this 10-kilometer roadshow in a poll-bound state like Karnataka, right at a time when they are facing allegations of corruption, the BJP government in Karnataka. But of course, this kind of roadshow is the election campaign, and quite a pompous campaign that the BJP usually puts up. More often than not, turns around into votes during the election. Will that happen this time again in Karnataka? That remains to be seen. But looking at really the way things have progressed in the recent past, for the BJP, it's very important that Prime Minister himself comes down and carries out rallies of such kind. This is a roadshow that's currently being pulled off in Belagavi. And let me cut across to Sagai Raj. In fact, Sagai got us that exclusive conversation with B.S. Yadurappa, the BJP strongman, on whose birthday Prime Minister Modi has arrived. Sagai, coincidence or a timely visit? Prime Minister Modi on Yadurappa's 80th birthday comes down himself, inaugurates the Shimoga airport, comes to Belagavi, holds a massive roadshow, walks hand in hand with B.S. Yadurappa. What does it really speak of?
It's not a coincidence, Nabila, because according to Yadurappa, Modi has told that he will come only on his birthday to inaugurate airport, and following that now as the roadshow which has been organized. And during the time of election, nothing can be coincident, because it is a well-planned execution of BJP ahead of elections in the state of Karnataka. And we have seen that the Prime Minister addressing a huge gathering in Shimoga after inaugurating the airport, and now he's on a road show in Belagavi, where he will be traveling close to 8 kilometers till he reaches the stage where he will be addressing a huge gathering in Belagavi district. And probably this is what we might get to see in the days to come ahead of elections in the state of Karnataka.
Tell us a little more, Sagai. What did Yediyurappa really say? We know that there was a lot of talk that BJP senior leaders were sidelining Yediyurappa. He was not invited for several key events in the state, and that sparked off a lot of rumors that the Lingayat strongman within the BJP is being ignored. That will be a death knell for the BJP in the upcoming elections. What did Yediyurappa say on that, on all that controversy that was brewing?
No, about that he has not spoken, but we have learned through our sources that B.S. Yediyurappa was unhappy, especially when Amit Shah was in Mandya, when Amit Shah was in several other programs. At that point of time, the government officials have clarified, stating that it was a government program and that is the reason he wasn't invited. But he was unhappy and he was even not invited for a BJP party program in Koppal district, and thereafter it was been pacified by the top leaders in BJP, and he went on a special flight with the MLC Ravi Kumar at that point of time, and he was a peacemaker between the party and B.S. Yediyurappa at that point of time. And now he seemed to be all happy after Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited on his birthday to Shivamogga to inaugurate his dream project of one of the second largest airports in the state of Karnataka.
All right, tell us a little more about this airport. Tell us the developmental projects that the BJP has rolled out ahead of elections. Prime Minister Modi's roadshow here has attracted a lot of people there who are waving at him as he passes through the streets of Belagavi. Has the BJP really got, are they seeing the kind of support that they expected at this time in Belagavi?
Absolutely. Every single visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi or Home Minister Amit Shah, the BJP will try to get mileage out of these kind of rallies. And these roadshows are actually helping for them to get good numbers in the near future. And in fact, what we also get to learn through our sources from the BJP is that many places where they had very slim chances now after Prime Minister Modi's visit or Prime Minister Modi's roadshow is trying to get more votes and trying to galvanize more support for the BJP. So they are trying to organize these kind of roadshow which will help the party in days to come. And that is the reason they are organizing these kind of roadshows. And talking about the Shivamogga airport, remember this particular airport will connect a lot of places including Malnad region, Chikmagalur, Udupi, coastal Karnataka. And this will also increase the investment of investment in the state of Karnataka. Close to 450 crores which has been spent on this particular airport, which is also designed in form of lotus, which is also party symbol of BJP. And according to the civil aviation sources here in the state of Karnataka, they claim that this is second largest airport in the state after Bengaluru airport, and probably this might also get international approval after few years, according to the local administration in the civil aviation. So we need to wait and watch how it is going to help the BJP in the days to come once it has been functional in Shivamogga district.
Of course, and from what we know, Sagai, clarify for us, at this point, despite Belagavi being a BJP stronghold, we believe a lot of the BJP leaders or the local leadership itself is missing. I mean, starting with Suresh Agadi, who is the key Lingayat face, a leader there, former Belagavi MP, unfortunately died out of COVID-19 in 2020. You also have Ramesh Jarkioli, who was forced to resign as a minister amid this 2021 sex for job scandal. Their top leaders within the Belagavi region, BJP leaders, are right now missing in action, and that leaves a huge void in that region, which is why they're banking and relying yet again on Prime Minister Modi's popularity.
Absolutely, and Nabila, we have seen that Home Minister, when he was addressing a gathering in Bellary, had sought vote in the name of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and he has also sought vote in the name of B.S. Yediyurappa. And at that point of time, he probably, according to BJP leaders, he forgot the name of Basuraj Bommai, but the Congress has claimed that they don't want to go in the name of CM Basuraj Bommai because he is a face of corruption. And as you pointed out, that several leaders, including Ramesh Jarkioli and few others, are unhappy because they were not being inducted back in the party, including K.S. Ishwarappa. But he was present in Prime Minister Modi's program here in Shivamogga, but he is also trying to get a ticket for his son instead of him. And the sources close to BJP have clarified that K. Ishwarappa is fighting within the BJP to get a ticket for his son more than him in the forthcoming assembly elections.
All right, and then you'll have another round of all kinds of controversies that will brew with the second round of leadership. Already enough and more allegations against the Congress for dynasty politics. If Ishwarappa projects his son, then that will be the same allegation level against the BJP leader as well. But do tell us a little more about the Belagavi region and why it's so significant. We saw that it becoming a hotbed of border politics in the recent past, regions of Belagavi which Maharashtra is claiming to be theirs. Tell us a little more on that and how important it is for BJP to regain power in this region.
Belagavi has one of the largest numbers of seats when it comes to Vidhana Sabha elections, and probably that is the reason after Bengaluru, a lot of leaders are heading towards the border district of Karnataka. And if you notice that Ramesh Jatkheli and his friends had decided and had changed the political scenario of the state of Karnataka when they turned towards BJP. Initially they were with Congress, and definitely Belagavi is an important political battle for BJP against Congress, and Congress is also trying their level best to increase their numbers in Belagavi. And Belagavi will be a center point of politics in the days to come when the elections are nearing.
Okay, I'm going to cut across to Mustafa Sheikh joining us live from that region. Mustafa, a lot of turmoil, tension right recently when there was the assembly session taking place in Belagavi itself, especially on the border politics. All right.
सर कुछ बताएंगे सर
All right, visuals of Manish Sisodia, Delhi Deputy Chief Minister, being taken into the Rouse Avenue court. These are live visuals coming in. At this point, all our reporters on ground tracking those developments. Manish Sisodia in that yellow shirt, he was just taken in to court, the Rouse Avenue court. It will be decided now whether the CBI will be able to get his custody and for how many days. Of course, Manish Sisodia and team now pushing for bail. On the grounds that Manish Sisodia's wife has been unwell. He's the only caretaker for her. But will the court really, on those grounds, grant bail to Manish Sisodia? That's the live visual there. Manish Sisodia in the yellow shirt being taken in by the police to the Rouse Avenue court.
सर कुछ बताएंगे सर
All right, Manish Sisodia there, who's just reached the Rouse Avenue court. In fact, Aam Aadmi Party netas, their members, supporters there in large numbers outside the Rouse Avenue court and different parts of Delhi protesting, calling this vendetta politics, accusing the BJP of trying to falsely implicate their tall neta like Manish Sisodia. These are the chants being made by the Aam Aadmi Party, but the CBI right now, going by the facts and figures and the investigative reports that they have now produced before court, will really push for Manish Sisodia's custody and for a few days, citing that Sisodia has been evasive on a lot of questions that were presented to him. And to many questions, Sisodia is said to have said, I don't know. This was Sisodia's reply to the investigative officers, as per our sources, that he's tried to feign ignorance on many key questions pertaining to his own role within the excise policy as the excise minister. Now, CBI hoping that they're going to get custody of Manish Sisodia for a little longer, at least for a good few days, as they want to investigate this case further. But Sisodia's team has pushed for bail, citing that Manish Sisodia's wife is unwell and he's the only caretaker. Pooja Shali, in fact, is right outside the Rouse Avenue court right now, and huge crowds there, Pooja, as Manish Sisodia has been brought in. We just hope that tempers are calm outside the Rouse Avenue court.
Well, Nabila, just a short while ago, Manish Sisodia was finally brought to the Rouse Avenue court. He's being produced presently. There are, of course, senior lawyers representing him. Then Krishnan is the senior most lawyer, also Manish Mathur and others. But here's what the Rouse Avenue court looks like. Take a look at how the strict security cordon is in place. Joint CP Paramaditya standing right now, that's leading the cordon here of the police. Special CP Dipendra Pathak also was just about here a short while ago. There are already PCR vehicles, and I want to just go close to show you the layers of security that has been done. This road has been completely blocked, Nabila. We'll give you a view to help you understand that there are buses also behind. The buses have been brought in. That specifically because there is a concern that there could be protests that are breaking out, and they want to ensure that the law and order situation does not arise. But throughout this area, there is going to be that we are ensuring. All right, I've been told to take a step back, so I will come back to this. But I can tell you, Nabila, what we saying a yellow shirt, the same shirt that he was wearing yesterday when he brought out that show of strength and decided to then go for the CBI questioning. But he was sitting in the middle of the vehicle. Flanking both sides were, of course, cops and senior officers of the CBI. But there were at least 6 to 7 vehicles of the police squadron that was brought along with the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. As you can see already here, Delhi police officials ensuring that the area is completely cordoned off. This is one to ensure that the protests don't break out in this area like it did at the Aam Aadmi Party headquarters. And they will be here. It's not just the Delhi police, it's also the CRPF. All of this to ensure that the protesters don't get out. In fact, I want to add here that some of the Aam Aadmi Party workers were seen here around the court, but they were immediately told to cordon off from the area. Nabila, back to you.
Right, of course, the police very well prepared, knowing the kind of popularity that the Aam Aadmi Party has in the state of Delhi. They've come back to power for the third time around. An integral part of that was Manish Sisodia. He really was the man behind bringing the AAP to power in the national capital for the third time around, known as literally the right-hand man of Arvind Kejriwal. It's come as a huge blow to the real premise of the Aam Aadmi Party itself, which was born on the basis of being the anti-corruption crusader. So Manish Sisodia's arrest by the CBI, it comes as a huge blow to the image of the Aam Aadmi Party, as it really wants or intends to make its way into different parts of the country, not just the national capital and Punjab. After Punjab's success, it appears that they really had big boost to and confidence to contest in several other different states, including that of Gujarat. They in fact are contending to even contest from Karnataka, a poll-bound state, even Rajasthan for that matter, northeastern states as well. But here, Manish Sisodia's arrest will come as a huge setback for the AAP and will dent their morale at this point, undoubtedly. How far are these allegations true? At this point, Pooja, we know that the AAP has been claiming that these are all fake allegations, it's a fake, false case. But at the end of it, you have the CBI coming out with a detailed report on the points that Manish Sisodia has been evasive.
Sir, कुछ बताएंगे? Sir, कुछ बताएंगे? So,
Manish, would you like to say something, Manish? You have been arrested and there is a massive protest which is also going on. Manish, you would like to say something?
All right, those were the live visuals coming in. Reporters, of course, asking Manish Sisodia if he had comments to make. He's quiet. He's mum, does not want to speak a word at this point. But even before his arrest, Manish Sisodia had almost hinted at the fact that he knows he's going to be arrested in this case. He even declared it to the media time and again that they are coming after me. They have absolutely no evidence, but I know they're going to come and arrest me. And that's precisely what's happened. But is it true that the case is false? We have Munish Pandey, our correspondent, tracking the central agencies there. Munish, you have Aam Aadmi Party netas right from day one when this investigation was launched by the central agencies, claiming that the new Manish Sisodia will be arrested one day. That this is going to be inevitable. What made them so sure?
Well, Nabila, not recent, but from last 4 months. Remember, from the time when Gujarat elections were happening, right from Arvind Kejriwal to Manish Sisodia to other senior leaders of Aam Aadmi Party, they were claiming that Manish Sisodia will be arrested very soon. He'll be arrested in the next 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. And again, when he was summoned to appear before the agency, the Aam Aadmi Party leaders started saying that he will be arrested by the Central Bureau of Investigation. So for Aam Aadmi Party, it was a political case. For the Central Bureau of Investigation, it is a case which is
about the criminal conspiracy and a corruption case. As far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, their strategy is very clear, that they are going to fight this case politically, and they will also take political mileage out of this case. And that is why we have seen that since the time the CBI started their investigation, they have not only blamed the LG of Delhi, but also the Bharatiya Janata Party, the senior leaders of Bharatiya Janata Party, and to an extent, they have also given slogans against the Prime Minister, that is Mr. Narendra Modi. So as far as, Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, their strategy is very clear, that in the public, they want to give a message that this is a political case, and out of political vendetta, the CBI is acting on behest of Bharatiya Janata Party. But as far as BJP is concerned, they are claiming that there is a corruption which has happened in the national capital. Manish Sisodia was involved in it. They are also giving the indication that Arvind Kejriwal was also aware of it. But as far as the main investigative agency is concerned, that is Central Bureau of Investigation, they are claiming that they started building the case based on the evidence, and based on evidence, they decided to arrest Manish Sisodia. Any moment from now, the hearing will start, and then we will see the legal battle between the CBI's legal team and the legal team of Manish Sisodia.
Right now, Sisodia has been taken inside the Rouse Avenue court, but right when he was on his way, reporters are asking questions. Listen in.
So, Manish, would you like to say something, Manish? You have been arrested and there's a massive protest which is also going on. Manish, you would like to say something? So, Manish, would you like to say something, Manish? You have been arrested and there's a massive protest which is also going on. Manish, you would like to say something?
There, not responding to the questions being asked. He's right now in the Rouse Avenue court. He's, of course, the CBI asking for at least 15 days custody. We have Manish Pandey who is tracking those developments. Manish, we believe that the court hearing has begun. Would you be able to tell us what exactly is being presented by the CBI today as they push for 15-day custody of Manish Sisodia?
The CBI is asking for the maximum custody of Mr. Manish Sisodia, the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister. As far as the CBI is concerned, the remand copy will be served before the court, and the remand copy will be mentioning the reasons because of which the CBI decided to arrest him and why they need custodial interrogation. Two very clear grounds are the non-cooperation by Mr. Manish Sisodia during the questioning, and also he was evasive when he was asked about the excise policy. Apart from that, the third and important ground is going to be the destruction of evidence, because remember, he has been arrested under Section 120B, that is criminal conspiracy, Section 477A, that is defraud, and under Prevention of Corruption Act. Now, destruction of evidence is something which is considered as a part of criminal conspiracy, that is Section 120B of Indian Penal Code, and based on these grounds, they will be asking for custodial interrogation, and in layman language, they will be asking for the custody of Manish Sisodia.
Right, and we hear that while the CBI is presenting its case in court, they've also spoken particularly on one point on how Manish Sisodia is said to have allegedly changed his mobile phones as the CBI. And I should remind my viewers here that the hearing in court has just begun, with the CBI counsel now presenting all that it has in its report to gain 14-day custody of Manish Sisodia. And in the first, they've claimed that Manish Sisodia has arbitrarily changed the rules. He has changed his mobile phones, and they're reading out the applications there before court. In fact, while the counsel they're presenting its argument there, speaking on the policy margin that was allegedly enhanced, the eligibility criteria itself of the tender was completely changed. And here the CBI presenting before court, if at all the liquor policy was so fine, if it was absolutely correct, then they should have gone ahead with it. What was the reason for Manish Sisodia to have scrapped it, for the Delhi government to have withdrawn the liquor policy entirely, which of course naturally raises questions on the way it was framed. Certainly raises questions on whether there was intention malicious intention before framing that policy with an intention to gain kickbacks from these liquor licenses. I'm going to cut across to Pooja Shali as well, who's right outside the Rouse Avenue Court. Pooja, the hearing has begun and the CBI is quite stern when it presents its arguments, claiming that it wants 14-day custody of Manish Sisodia, and point by point speaks of how Manish Sisodia allegedly changed his phone numbers repeatedly and arbitrarily changed the rules and guidelines and framework of the liquor policy without actually getting it approved from competent authorities. And this is why he should be right now in custody to investigate further.
Well, first, Nabila, senior advocates Dan Krishnan, Siddharth Agarwal, Mohit Mathur are representing Manish Sisodia, and one of the reasons they want a bail early is because of they are quoting the health of the wife. That will be one of the reasons that they could likely be telling the court. But the CBI is very clear. The CBI says it's not just about him being unclear or not giving exact responses, clear responses, because most of the replies were, I do not know. But there have been digital evidence that according to the Central Bureau of Investigation, they have been able to brought out. These are files that were allegedly deleted and have been retrieved by the CBI. This, remember, is also where the ED has been tracking this case. But the CBI wants an extended custody because they are saying it's not just about that they were not convinced with the 8 hours of questioning. It is way beyond that. There was clear evidence that they have been able to put forth to which they did not get clear answers, and they want custody on that. So the CBI is very clear. Now, I want you to understand the procedure also here. Usually, the police custody is about for 14-15 days. Now, this time, while Sisodia's lawyers will want an early bail, the CBI is likely to push for at least few days of custody. Even if 14 days is not an option, at least a few days, as much as they can, they are likely to push for it. Depending on what the court says and depending on the reasons or the seriousness of this case right now, there could be trouble brewing for Manish Sisodia. But the bigger question is this trouble only for those few days when the CBI gets his custody, or is it just the starting of a trouble? Because yes, the CBI has to eventually prove these are very serious charges. They have arrested
you know, Pooja, as the arguments right now are presented before court, I'm going to cut across to Nalini, who has been tracking court for us. Nalini, a quick word from you. We believe that Manish Sisodia's team has also jumped in, pushing for bail and also citing Vijay Nair there, saying that he's been given bail in the CBI case, and on basis of which Manish Sisodia also seeking bail. He's quoted his wife's illness as a reason to why he should be let off on bail here. How likely is it that the court will concede?
Well, Nabila, these are some strong medical grounds to seek interim bail, and that's what Manish Sisodia is doing. He's saying that his wife's health is not well, and on that basis, he's seeking interim bail. But remember, it's very important to point out that this is the first time that Manish Sisodia is being produced after he was arrested by the CBI yesterday, and the CBI has given reasons for exactly why they want their custody before the Rouse Avenue Court, but they've said that Manish Sisodia has been evasive during the questioning, even though he's been duly appearing before the CBI, does not mean he's been cooperating with the investigation, and that they need to conduct custodial interrogation of Manish Sisodia to get to the further details. They've also gone ahead and said that Manish Sisodia has changed his mobile phones in the past some time, because of which they've not been able to trace the exact data of what had gone on, and the digital evidence that they've relied on has been captured from the digital devices that were seized during the raids at Manish Sisodia's home as well as office. And what they're saying is that they require at least 5 days of custodial interrogation. Remember, 14 days is the maximum police custody that the CBI can ask for at this point, but they've decided to go with 5 days so that after the 5 days they can build a stronger case from whatever they interrogate through Manish Sisodia during these 5 days.
So let me clarify for us, if the CBI is seeking 14-day custody, or are they seeking 5-day custody?
Nabila, CBI can maximum seek 14 days custody. He can, for the maximum amount of time, be in custody for 14 days. But for now, they've only sought 5 days custody. Right. So if this 5 days custody is granted, and once this 5 days custody expires, they'll be able to get only 9 more days custody, is essentially what I'm trying to say over here. More than 14 days custody cannot be granted to any police agency. He will have to either be released on bail or sent to judicial custody once this 14-day time period is over. And this is the reason why this custody is so crucial for the CBI because they have only a limited amount of time to try and extract as much information as possible from Manish Sisodia. Now, the main crux of the CBI's case is regarding the drafting of this excise policy. And what they're trying to find out from Manish Sisodia is how changes were brought about in this excise policy and how certain contentious provisions were brought in that were not part of the first original draft but were later brought in as part of the final draft. What they're also trying to ascertain is that if these provisions were brought in from some external source, from somebody who was outside the excise department, likely somebody who was later on a beneficiary of these same contentious provisions and the kickbacks that were received in lieu of that. So keeping this in mind, the CBI is going to go into the further details of this case. They've not been able to recover a lot of digital evidence regarding exactly how this draft came into being, how it went on from the first draft and how the final draft was then created, which is why they've called in Manish Sisodia. They've arrested him and they now want to conduct custodial interrogation to find out who exactly was responsible for these clauses being brought in into the final draft, which eventually benefited several businessmen who allegedly also gave kickbacks to the Aam Aadmi Party in this entire excise
The allegations are certainly huge, and of course the CBI has found out a lot of irregularities in the case, but really no one to take accountability on the same. Nalini, stay with us. I'm cutting across to Pooja on that. Pooja, the level of allegations, the number of allegations leveled against the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi for framing this liquor policy arbitrarily in such a way where they receive kickbacks and commissions post the tender being allotted. All the other accused in the case who've been arrested, all of them have maintained before the CBI that it was on Manish Sisodia's behest that we have acted. We have acted on the orders of the Deputy Chief Minister, Manish Sisodia. But while the same questions were presented to Sisodia during interrogation, even yesterday, we believe that he said, I don't know, to most of the questions that were presented before him.
This is getting very interesting, Nabila, because what Manish Sisodia's lawyers are saying is that how can this be a ground of remand custody, that because Manish Sisodia did not confess or did not say what the CBI officers wanted to say, so let's go and get him arrested and want extended custody. They are hitting back at the CBI very clearly, and I want to quote what the lawyers have said, that they are saying that he's concealing.
All right. We're going to try and patch Pooja's connection there, but one should know that right now in court, the CBI, of course, they're pushing for at least 5-day custody of Manish Sisodia, claiming that he's been very evasive on the number of questions that were presented to him. He's not been answering properly. We want to conduct further investigation, and we are worried that if Manish Sisodia is not in custody, he could be well enough in the power to try and tamper with evidence. This is more or less the argument that the CBI has in court, but at the same time, Sisodia's team, they're pressing for bail on the grounds that Manish Sisodia's wife is ill and he's the only caretaker, and on these grounds, will the court really grant him bail? That remains to be seen, and every update in court there being tracked by Nalini, who's joining us on that. Nalini, a quick word. As I see here, the CBI almost arguing that if Manish Sisodia is let off and if we are not given custody, it's going to be very difficult for us to investigate the matter. He may be in power to tamper with evidence. That's more or less their line of argument, but at the same time, Manish Sisodia seems to have a strong case. His wife is ill, and that could be considered before court. And they're also sort of referring to Vijay Nair being given bail in the same case, so why not Sisodia?
Yes, absolutely, Nabila. But remember, Vijay Nair also had to spend certain amount of time in CBI custody before he was granted bail in this entire case. And at the same time, another thing we need to remember is that this might just be the starting point of the trouble for Manish Sisodia, because even if things work out in his favor and he somehow manages to, if not today, eventually get bail from the special CBI court, there is also the Enforcement Directorate that is also investigating this entire case, which has very strong likelihood likelihood of jumping in and seeking Manish Sisodia's custody as soon as either he is released on bail or sent to judicial custody. Of course, we are not speculating at that point anytime soon, but at the same time, this could be a possibility that trouble might be mounting even further for Manish Sisodia in the coming days. Because remember, and why I say trouble will be mounting, Nabila, is because in case Enforcement Directorate moves in to arrest him, then he is going to be charged with sections under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, where getting bail is an uphill battle, because the burden of proof under the PMLA then falls on the accused, which will be Manish Sisodia in this case, to prove his innocence to even get bail. But in the CBI case, let's keep it restricted to that for now. He's been charged under Section 7 of the Prevention of Corruption Act, which basically talks about taking illegal gratification except for the salary that you get from the government. So it is this illegal gratification that they're talking about in the excise policy case, saying that it was Manish Sisodia who was responsible for tweaking certain provisions of the entire excise policy in the final draft, so that the excise policy could benefit certain companies and certain businessmen, who then in turn gave kickbacks to the tune of hundreds of crores to the Aam Aadmi Party and Manish Sisodia specifically. Now, it's the top echelons of the Aam Aadmi Party that are right under the scanner in this entire case, not just Manish Sisodia but also several other leaders. There's a possibility that Satyendra Jain can also be roped in, because he has been questioned with regard to the excise policy scam as well. So it's a big battle that lies ahead, not just for Manish Sisodia but also for the Aam Aadmi
for a moment. Here you have big updates coming in while Manish Sisodia's team there trying to argue that Manish Sisodia is being forced to admit to a crime which he hasn't done. Now, I can't be reprimanded for not confessing to a crime. I'm not at fault, but I'm being forced and pushed to admit to something I haven't done, and this can't be the grounds and basis of which I should be arrested.
Well, yes, Nabila, essentially what Manish Sisodia is saying is that he has a right against self-incrimination, which means that the CBI cannot call him for questioning and then ask him to confess about the crimes that he has committed. There is no burden on him to go ahead and confess of any crime that he has done. He is simply required to answer the questions that have been put forth by the CBI. But at the same time, the CBI is saying that Manish Sisodia has not been forthcoming with the answers that they've asked, specifically regarding these certain contentious provisions and how they were brought into the entire excise policy that was under the department that Manish Sisodia himself was heading. What is the CBI relying on to make their case, Nabila? That is the main question. And they are relying on a statement of one excise department official, who has said that Manish Sisodia himself personally was involved in the drafting and the framing of this entire excise policy. In fact, if you look back at the press release that was issued by the CBI just minutes after Manish Sisodia was arrested yesterday, that also talks about irregularities in the drafting and the implementation of the excise policy that was drafted under Manish Sisodia's leadership. So his role in this entire case is extremely crucial, because it was his department that was heading it and everything was signed off by Manish Sisodia himself. So for him to come out and give some direct answers is extremely important at this point for the CBI, which is why they've moved in to arrest him after just 2 times of questioning him. Because first he was questioned in October, then again he was called during the budget time when he had expressed his inability to come because he was busy with the budget preparation, and then yesterday again after being questioned for almost 7 to 8 hours, the CBI took him into custody and they have now officially arrested him and produced him before the special CBI court at Rouse Avenue. What they're essentially saying is that he's not
Manish Sisodia's team saying, if I'm not confessing, that does not make me guilty. In that case, every criminal will have the same modus operandi in court. They will keep mum on the allegations leveled against them. Questions will be asked, they say, I don't know. And to that extent, then the cops or the central agencies can never be able to investigate or arrest anyone for that matter. When he says that I have not admitted to a crime which I haven't done, that does not call for my remand. I should be let off. Now, does that even hold good in a court of law, that argument?
Well, Nabila, what we need to understand is that both the investigating agency, which is the CBI over here, and the accused, Manish Sisodia, both of them have rights and duties that they duly have to fulfill. So, although Manish Sisodia is absolutely right when he says that he has a right against self-incrimination and there is absolutely no reason why he should be asked to confess anything before the CBI, but at the same time, it is also the CBI's job to investigate this case. They cannot just ask Manish Sisodia to appear before them and expect him to give direct answers according to their wishes, exactly in the words that they wish, because Manish Sisodia, of course, is going to try and make out a strong defense for himself. He's not going to bend over backwards to allow the CBI to take him into custody. So keeping that in mind, the CBI also has a very crucial role to play on how they investigate the case. That is why they've relied on not just statements from Manish Sisodia, but also statements from the Excise Department officials. They've also seized his digital devices through which they've gathered the digital evidence of exactly what was happening in the office at the time when this excise policy was being drafted. Now, through these digital devices and through the digital recovery of evidence, they're trying to ascertain who exactly was responsible for these changes that were brought in into the excise policy, because Manish Sisodia himself has not been forthcoming with the answers. So it is although right for the CBI to say that Manish Sisodia might not be cooperating and they might have a better chance at trying to get some answers out of him if they have custodial interrogation, but the CBI is also bound by a time limit. They will have to not only prove a strong case before the court for why they want the 5 days of police custody, but also if they hope to get any further custody at the end of these 5 days, then these 5 days they will have to really dig in deep and get out some crucial details against Manish Sisodia and his involvement in the excise policy scam to be able to make a strong, waterproof, watertight case against Manish Sisodia before the court of law, because all the political posturing and all the things said by the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party outside the court of law are completely different. But before the court of law, only the facts and what the CBI can present as evidence is something that is going to hold ground. So if they're just making a case out of thin air, then of course it's not going to hold any water. They will have to bring forth some solid proof, some solid evidence to keep Manish Sisodia in custody if they want to. Now, they've asked for 5 days custody. It remains to be seen how much the judge is agreeing to at the end of the day, because Manish Sisodia is also asking for interim bail at the same time, saying his wife is not well. There are medical grounds under which she needs treatment, and which is why he needs to be with her and should be allowed out on bail. Another important thing that Manish Sisodia's legal team has said is that Manish Sisodia, every single time that he's been called by the agency, has duly appeared, and the one time that he has not been able to appear, he's communicated to them the reasons for why he's not been able to appear, and he's asked them to schedule another date, after which the interrogation had happened yesterday. So there is no question of Manish Sisodia evading arrest or evading questioning in any way. So he's been cooperating, and due to that, he should be released on interim bail is what his legal team is saying.
Stay with us, Nalini. Pooja also joining us right outside the Rouse Avenue Court. Pooja, give us a little background on Manish Sisodia's bail plea and the argument before the court by his counsel, saying that his wife is seriously ill and he's the only caretaker. Tell us a little more. Even yesterday, the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal himself, right after the arrest, came out in a press conference and really sympathetically spoke about Manish Sisodia's wife being critically ill and that his son is currently abroad. There's really nobody to take care of his wife, and of course Aam Aadmi Party netas are all going to be looking out for her, but this is a tragic situation. Tell us a little more about Manish Sisodia, his family at this point. What do we know about his wife's health status?
This is getting very interesting now. This is getting very interesting at the revenue. The details that we are getting from the Rouse Avenue Court from inside is very interesting. How senior advocate Dan Krishnan has actually quoted the High Court rules, and he has quoting those rules says, how is this really a case for remand? Very clearly that the senior advocate is saying that simply because Manish Sisodia did not confess to what the CBI wanted him to say. CBI wanted him to confess to a certain case that does not exist, according to senior advocate Dan Krishnan representing Manish Sisodia. So you arrest him and ask for an extended remand. They're actually hitting back at the Central Bureau of Investigation. And I quote what the senior advocate Dan Krishnan has said, that not disclosing correct facts cannot be a reason. There's right to self-incrimination. Just because one didn't confess doesn't mean he did not cooperate. He did cooperate. He was called. He attended the questioning that went on for 8 hours. Delhi High Court rules say exactly the same things. How can possibly remand be done in these cases? And it can be granted only when it is absolutely necessary. So yes, of course, there were personal issues that Manish Sisodia's lawyers were likely to refer to, but they are hitting directly at the CBI, saying the only reason CBI is doing this is because Manish Sisodia did not confess exactly what they wanted to. Now, of course, like you have been also asking earlier, that it does not really work like this, that a confession comes in and only then an investigative agency asks for any sort of extended remand. But I can tell you this, the CBI counsel have said that it's not just about the confession. What we are saying is we are bringing to you evidence. One of the investigations that we have done in this case shows that a policy margin, the liquor policy margin, was extended. It was given to players who were not part of it earlier. Specifically, the eligibility criteria was changed. Eligibility criteria about what sort of private players can be brought in to be a part of this excise policy that started in November 2021. By September 22, had to be slashed, had to be pushed back. One of the reasons was because the irregularities had been exposed and surfaced. Now, Aam Aadmi Party says there's been nothing irregular. There's no illegal funding involved. But the CBI says they've managed a chain trail and have retrieved some deleted files. But the CBI counsel says there's absolutely no case that stands here. They wanted him to confess. He didn't confess because there's no crime. And now they want a remand over that. Nabila.
Of course, these are several aspects that the court will be looking into, and of course the severity of the case. Nalini, at this point, what category does this case really fall under? How serious is the offence? We don't know if Manish Sisodia is in prison. If at all he's implicated in this case and charge sheeted, then he might just be in prison for the long haul. If he's in prison for up to 2 years, he loses out on his assembly seat. He won't be able to contest for the next 6 years. So these are the political implications on Manish Sisodia. But how serious is this crime, and what level does it come under, which will prevent him from even getting bail at this point?
Well, Nabila, it might still be a little bit easier for him as long as it's just the CBI and he is being charged under the Prevention of Corruption Act, because essentially over here the burden is going to be on the CBI to prove that there is even a little bit of a case against Manish Sisodia to keep him in custody. So they are the ones who will be under pressure before the court to bring forth facts, to bring forth evidence and make a strong case. But once the Enforcement Directorate